At this point, I need an experienced ophthalmologist to check my eyes because it feels like my eyes are failing me anytime I see any football news in 2026 and particularly this transfer window. Manchester City wants to sign Pedro Neto from Chelsea for about £81 million. Did you listen to what I just said? Pedro Neto, that Chelsea fans do not want anymore. Now, Tottenham is trying to sign Savinho from Man City, and Pedro Neto is supposed to be the replacement. But if Tottenham cannot get Savinho from Man City, that is Savinho stays and then Pedro Neto doesn't go to Man City, Tottenham wants Pedro Neto, and he'll cost that same amount. What is happening? Is this money laundering? I need to ask again because there are some transfers I'm seeing and I don't think it's clean. Like, what is going on? Pedro Neto? Arsenal is trying to sign Vinicius. Man City, that is supposed to be the challenger of Arsenal, is signing Pedro Neto. Arsenal will dominate this Premier League for long. Just Arsenal carry the Premier League and be going.
Enzo Maresca went to Manchester City to take them backwards. Because you're telling me it's just been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano that Pedro Neto is close to joining Manchester City. Manchester City have made direct contact with Pedro Neto's camp as talks start over a possible move. Pedro Neto is amongst Manchester City's target if Savinho leaves Manchester City, which is most likely going to be happening as well. Enzo Maresca, you got a 100% loss ratio in Manchester City, and you're out here taking them backwards?
Someone better own up. Because for it to be this rumored, there has to be some concrete evidence that this is really in talks. Bro, don't piss me off. This is the first time in like 5 windows I have felt we are genuinely taking the piss. Guys want to talk about Reinders or the Omar or Semenyo. What the fuck is this? So with all these signings that everyone's complaining, oh, we need to offload Savinho. You want to replace Savinho with Pedro Neto. The same guy I watched stink it up for Portugal. The same guy I watched him perform in the World Cup. The same guy I've been watching him perform for Chelsea for the past 2 seasons. Enzo Maresca, this is not the way we do things here. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's you or this has not been the way we've never ever made these type of signings.
This can't be real. Manchester City are preparing to bid 81 million to sign Pedro Neto. So reports are now coming out that Enzo Maresca wants Pedro Neto at Manchester City and is prepared to spend big in order to complete the deal. 81 million for Pedro Neto. Brother, who died? Now, real talk. Who actually... Nah, bro. The transfer market is done, bro. Because when you're spending 81 million, preparing to bid 81 million on Pedro Neto, yeah, this transfer might be the downfall of Manchester City. Now, real talk. Honestly, like, you're telling me they're preparing to spend 81 million to sign Pedro Neto because Enzo Maresca wants him. Yeah. Like I said, this transfer here might be the downfall of Manchester. It might be the difference between Manchester City winning or losing the league. Because, bro, 81 million. Nah.
Well, it seems to be news day for Man City. Fabrizio puts out that we've made direct contact with Pedro Neto's camp to start this potential move. It's, of course, only if Savinho goes, which I do think happens. He's going to go to Spurs. I think that's pretty obvious. Everyone can kind of agree on that. But is Pedro Neto better than Savio? Shooting-wise, yes, of course. Most people are better than Savio shooting-wise. But overall, is he a better player? I think yes. They're probably going to go for similar fees between that 60 and 70 range. Pedro Neto is a bit of an injury risk. However, he's not a bad player. I think he gets a little bit extra hate online. Pedro Neto, from time to time, can be very good. He'd be squad rotation at City as well. He'd be the backup right winger to Semenyo /Foden /Cherky. So I'm not sure on this one. I don't hate the move. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate it. It also says he is an option. He's an option amongst other options. So we shall see who those other people are, those other right-wing options. Hopefully Vinny is an option at some point, but I don't think that's happening either. Let me know what you guys think. Pedro Neto to Man City looks possible.
These big clubs are obsessed with buying Prem-proven players, as this would be the worst deal of the summer. Nothing will come close to it. Out of all the wingers in the world, Man City want Pedro Neto. Is Maresca on a mission to just tear down everything Pep built in 10 years in one window? And he's going to be Savinho's replacement if he goes to Spurs. But Savinho's only 22, so he's got much more room to develop. Whereas Neto's 26, so he's much closer to being the finished article. And please explain to me how Neto is going to turn into this brilliant winger overnight, given the fact that he'll be playing for a manager that he's previously played under, and he wasn't putting up trees under him. He was average. And the crazy thing is, in this market, he'll probably cost 70, 80 million. And if Chelsea can somehow get that much for him, that's one of the best sales I've ever seen. He just wants to bring all his Chelsea buddies to Man City, as he also wants Gusto and Enzo Fernandez. I'm assuming Man City want to win the league, and these three just don't scream title-winning quality. And more often than not, it doesn't end well when you bring players that you previously managed at a different club. Hey, this Arsenal back-to-back is looking more and more likely.
So I saw this news that Manchester City are planning to get Pedro Neto for £81 million or euros thereabouts. I saw this news, and the reason I'm making this video is because if this news is true, then Chelsea needs to come and, teach Man U how to do negotiations, how to sell players. That person that's in charge of Chelsea's negotiation, whatever, you can come out and say, oh, Chelsea are selling players, but they are selling their players for very, very good amounts. Somebody like Pedro Neto that everybody is swearing for.
Manchester City are actually looking for possibility to sign Pedro Neto, and Chelsea values him around 70 million euros. Enzo Maresca, of all the wingers in the world, of all the wingers in Europe or 5 league, it is Pedro Neto. Why? Neto will only sabi to carry ball run. We need a winger who can unlock tight spaces. And we have Semenyo who can do that, Jeremy who can do that, Savio who can do that. Just improve them in the final third, and we are set for the new season. Of all the wingers in the world, it is Hi. Draw favoritism aside, if you want to succeed at this Manchester City, which one be Pedro Neto again?
Neto to Man City. Pedro Neto to inject that shit into my vein, man. Inject it into my vein right now. Enzo Maresca, you know what? If you can make this shit happen, if you can miraculously make this thing happen, man, all is forgiven. I forgive you. If you can actually find a way to convince Man City to buy Neto from us, bro, all is forgiven, man. Do you know what this Neto has done to our football club? A winger that would rather cross than take his opponents on. Pedro Neto, he would rather cross, he would rather do his aimless cross multiple times, he doesn't care, than take anybody on. You only do take-ons when you feel like, you know what, I might want to show off a bit, man. Pedro Neto to Man City. So, Fabrizio just confirmed me today now that Man City are exploring the option of finding a way to bring Pedro Neto over to them. If Savinho can go to Tottenham and they can get Neto over to Man City.
Straight from Fabrizio Romano, Manchester City make direct contact to Pedro Neto's camp. Manchester City wants Pedro Neto officially. Hi God. And I'm hearing that Chelsea wants to sell this guy for 80 million. Jesus Christ of Nazareth. We be businessmen. You see that blue coat? You see that blue coat? Those people are business tycoons.
Inavyoonekana Manchester City wanamtamani sana Pedro Neto. Yaani jinsi inavyoonekana Man City wanataka kijana Pedro Neto aweze kusakata kandanda ndani ya uga wa Etihad pale the Citizens. Enzo Maresca bwana anaamini kwamba viwango vya mchezo vyake Pedro Neto vitafanya kazi kubwa au shughuli kubwa katika kosi cha Manchester City. Na hivi sasa Man City wameonyesha tu nia na matamanio ya kutaka kumsajili huyu Pedro Neto. Lakini sijui kama Chelsea watamruhusu, lakini nimeziona fununu pale eti kwamba Enzo Maresca anamtaka kijana Pedro Neto iwapo au endapo kijana Savinho atajiunga na kikosi kizima cha Tottenham Hotspurs.